The Vanishing of Eli Mercer. Part 5. When investigators hit a wall in a missing person case, they often turn to behavioral forensics, examining whether the subject's choices reflect panic, confusion, psychosis, or rational decision-making under stress. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting stories. Eli Mercer's behavior fit none of these categories. His choices weren't random. They weren't panicked. They weren't chaotic. They were structured but misaligned, orderly but illogical, repeatedly purposeful but purposefully wrong. It was behavior that mirrored instructions, but instructions given by someone who did not understand the environment, the terrain, or human survival instinct. A pattern that experts rarely discuss publicly. Behavioral forensicist Dr. Langford's analysis. Dr. Maren Langford, a forensic psychologist specializing in wilderness disappearances, was consulted off-record. She reviewed the item placements, the movement patterns, the neat organization of gear, the consistent tidiness of each find, the lack of survival-motivated decisions. Her conclusion was unsettling. This is not a case of hypothermia. This is deliberate staging over distance. The subject's behavior suggests external influence, psychological, environmental, or interpersonal. She continued. The removal of boots and abandonment of gear is not paradoxical undressing. It is ritualistic placement. That term, ritualistic placement, would appear again in multiple expert consultations, and it opened an entirely new line of questioning. The ritual pattern. Across the Sierra Verdes, gear was left in a way that felt almost ceremonial. Boots side by side. Backpack leaned upright. Thermos placed with its cap beside it. Vest folded. Items arranged in clear view spaces. Not scattered. Not lost. Not dropped while stumbling. Arranged. Each location seemed chosen, almost curated, as if marking a path, a trail, a message. Thorne had noted this pattern in his private notes. Every item location corresponds to a vantage point, a lookout, or a directional line. It's as if someone wanted Eli to be seen, only not while he was alive. The local stories resurface. Once talk of ritualistic placement leaked into the community, old stories began resurfacing, tales usually dismissed as superstition, because long before the Sierra Verdes were prized for hunting, they held a reputation older than settlers, older than mining camps, older than trail maps, a reputation passed down by the region's earliest inhabitants, a place not of ghosts, but of mimics, of figures that resembled people, spoke like people, moved like people, but were not people. Stories of the echo walkers, beings said to mimic travelers, lure them deeper, copy their movements, and confuse their senses. Local native accounts described hearing their own voice called back to them, seeing someone they knew far ahead on the ridge, following someone who had never actually been there. To this day, older ranchers advise their children, never follow a voice in the Verdes, especially if it sounds familiar. It was folklore, nothing more. Or so people believed, until the Mercer timeline was re-examined. The unsettling parallels. Dr. Langford compared Eli's movement pattern to known cases involving psychological mimicry, coercion, and external guidance. She noted, 1. The straight line travel away from safety. People suffering exposure wander in loops. Eli traveled straight lines between vantage points. 2. The precise item placement, not consistent with confusion or panic. 3. The uphill climb, counter-instinctual, typical in cases where subjects believe they're following something. 4. The phone turned off, indicative of compliance or being told not to use it. 5. The missing feet, in native stories, mimicked. People often lost extremities in symbolic trades with the mountains. Langford paused after reviewing everything. Whatever influenced him, the pattern isn't environmental. It's behavioral, as if he believed he was following guidance. Guidance from whom? That question would split the investigators into three camps. The three theories that emerged. Theory 1. Human involvement. A second, unknown individual was in the mountains, possibly threatening Eli, possibly guiding him, possibly staging his items. Support. The radio clip. Somethings. The illogical path. The ritual placement. The distances covered. The lack of panic behavior. The consistent direction. The shadow window gaps. This theory suggested Eli was not alone, but no footprints, fibers, or sign indicated a second party. Theory 2. Psychological break, delirium, suggested by some officials, but contradicted by organized placement, deliberate directional choices, avoidance of safe areas, the uphill climb, no erratic movement patterns, calm radio demeanor, the neatness of each item seen. This theory quickly lost support. Theory 3. Echo phenomenon, not supernatural, but neurological and environmental. Researchers studying infrasound, low-frequency vibrations produced by certain geological formations, discovered that the Sierra Verdes have unusually strong infrasound pockets. Exposure can cause disorientation, sense of presence, paranoia, auditory distortions, phantom voices, compulsion-like behavior, movement toward or away from imagined stimuli. Langford underlined this possibility. He may have perceived someone guiding him, a voice, a presence, not real, but real to him. This would explain the straight lines, the ritualistic placements, and the climb away from safety. But it didn't explain the missing feet, the item appearances after searches, the fresh condition of the backpack, the fact that none of his behavior matched typical infrasound reactions, the mind that walked into the mountains. Thorne summarized the case in one chilling sentence. It's like Eli wasn't traveling through the mountains. He was traveling through a set of instructions, like a person following a path laid out by something they believed was communicating with them, or someone, or somewhere. His behavior showed no internal chaos, only external influence. Something changed the way Eli understood safety, distance, threat, direction, and ultimately himself. This wasn't a man wandering. This was a man compelled. The public never heard any of this. The official report listed death by environmental exposure. No mention of the gaps. No mention of the placements. No mention of the vanished feet. No mention of the timeline anomalies. No mention of the mimicry folklore. No mention of the behavioral inconsistencies. No mention of the audio clip. No mention of the infrasound pockets. The public believed Eli had gotten lost, but the people who worked the case, the ones who touched the gear, the ones who saw the terrain, the ones who mapped the timeline, the ones who examined the bones, the ones who read the radio logs, they knew the truth. This case didn't match any known wilderness disappearance, and none of them believed Eli Mercer died alone. If you have thoughts or theories, leave them below. And as always, stay safe out there.